Hello everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. Today, we are diving headfirst into the murky, shark-infested waters of scams. We all know the world is full of honest, hardworking people just trying to make their way. But sadly, it's also teeming with opportunistic sharks looking to prey on the unsuspecting. Now I'm not talking about your run-of-the-mill Nigerian prince needing a small loan to access his vast fortune. These scams are evolving, folks. They're getting slicker, sneakier, and frankly more creative in their quest to separate you from your hard-earned cash. So buckle up, because we're about to expose the top 8 scams lurking out there, just waiting to take a bite out of your bank account. And trust me, you don't want to be caught swimming naked in these waters. Let's kick things off with everyone's favorite, education, or should I say education. Some institutions are more interested in your tuition checks than your actual education. They lure you in with promises of high-paying jobs and a brighter future. But the reality? You end up saddled with debt and a worthless piece of paper. These diploma mills churn out graduates unprepared for the real world. So, do your homework. Research schools thoroughly, read reviews, and don't fall for empty promises. Remember, a good education is an investment, not a quick cash grab. Next up, we're tackling a predatory practice that preys on the most vulnerable among us: payday loans. Now, we've all been there. Unexpected car repairs, medical bills, a sudden urge to buy that life-size garden gnome you definitely don't need. Payday loans dangle the promise of quick cash with no hassle. But here's the catch. Those sky-high interest rates are designed to trap you in a vicious cycle of debt. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. You end up borrowing more just to cover the interest, and before you know it, you're drowning in fees and charges. So, unless you're a huge fan of paying exorbitant amounts of money for the privilege of borrowing a few $100, steer clear of payday loans.
Man, I thought a payday loan would help me get through a tough time, but it just made everything worse. I was stuck in a cycle of debt that felt impossible to escape.
Tax season, that magical time of year when we all get to wrestle with receipts and decipher tax forms. And if that wasn't fun enough, there are also scammers lurking around every corner. These shady tax preparers promise massive refunds and deductions you never knew existed, but they often inflate your deductions and file fraudulent returns, leaving you on the hook for penalties. So when it comes to your taxes, remember this: if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Stick with reputable tax professionals or use trusted tax software. Your bank account and your sanity will thank you. Now let's talk about something near and dear to many of our hearts: sports. The thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, and the ever-present temptation to make things a little more interesting with a friendly wager. But beware, my friends, because the world of sports betting is riddled with scams just waiting to sideline your finances.
From rigged games and insider information to fake websites and guaranteed win schemes, these scammers are experts at exploiting your love of the game. They'll promise you easy money, guaranteed picks, and access to exclusive information that will make you a betting savant. But remember, folks, there's a reason why the house always wins.
So, if you're thinking about placing a bet, do your research. Be wary of anyone guaranteeing wins, and never bet more than you can afford to lose. Because in the end, the only sure thing in sports betting is that the scammers are always looking for their next victim. Love is in the air, wedding bells are ringing, and you're drowning in debt? Yes, folks, even the happiest day of your life isn't immune to the allure of scams. And buy now, pay later, BNPL schemes are quickly becoming the uninvited guest at the wedding feast.
Now, BNPL can seem like a lifesaver when you're planning a wedding on a budget. It allows you to spread the cost of everything from the dress to the DJ into manageable payments. But here's the catch. Those seemingly small payments can quickly snowball into a mountain of debt, especially if you're juggling multiple BNPL plans. And if you miss a payment, be prepared for late fees, interest charges, and a whole lot of stress that will put a damper on your post-wedding bliss.
So, before you say I do to BNPL, make sure you understand the terms and conditions, have a solid plan to make those payments, and remember, a dream wedding shouldn't turn into a financial nightmare. Chapter 6, Credit Card Capers. Don't swipe right on these scams. Credit cards, those magical pieces of plastic that allow us to buy things we can't afford and worry about the consequences later. But while credit cards can be a convenient tool, they also happen to be a scammer's best friend. From phishing scams and skimming devices to fake applications and identity theft, credit card fraud is a multi-billion-dollar industry. These scammers are constantly coming up with new and creative ways to steal your information and max out your credit limit before you can say unauthorized transaction. So, how can you protect yourself from these credit card capers? Well, for starters, be vigilant about checking your statements for any suspicious activity. Be wary of phishing emails or phone calls asking for your personal information, and if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. Remember folks, when it comes to credit card scams, an ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. Chapter 7. Internship or indentured servitude. Know your rights. Internships. The gateway to a bright and promising career. A chance to gain valuable experience, learn from the best, and make important connections. Or in some cases, a way for unscrupulous companies to exploit eager young workers for little to no pay. These companies dangle the promise of experience and networking opportunities like carrots on a stick, but in reality, they're getting free or cheap labor while interns are left with little more than a line on their resume and a mountain of unpaid coffee runs. Now, not all internships are created equal, and there are plenty of legitimate companies offering valuable experiences. But it's important to know your rights, understand the difference between a legitimate internship and an exploitative situation, and be prepared to walk away if something doesn't feel right. Chapter 8. Online shopping scams. Navigating the digital marketplace. And finally, let's talk about online shopping, because who doesn't love the convenience of buying anything and everything from the comfort of your own home? But while online shopping can be a godsend, it's also a breeding ground for scams. From fake websites and counterfeit products to phishing scams and shady sellers, the online marketplace is a minefield of potential pitfalls. These scammers are experts at creating websites that look legitimate, offering deals that seem too good to be true, and disappearing with your money before you can say tracking number. So, how can you protect yourself from these digital swindlers? Well, for starters, always shop from reputable websites. Check reviews, look for secure payment gateways, and be wary of deals that seem too good to be true. And if you're ever unsure about a website or a seller, trust your gut and take your business elsewhere. So there you have it, folks, our whirlwind tour of the top 8 scams you need to know about. Remember, knowledge is power, and by being aware of these scams, you're already one step ahead of the game. But don't let your guard down just yet. Scammers are constantly evolving, finding new and creative ways to separate you from your hard-earned cash. So stay vigilant, trust your instincts, and remember, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Stay safe, stay informed, and until next time, happy scam-free living.